This is Wanda Williams from Heart and Soul Podcast, and I'm here today with
Janiece Corevine. Thank you.
Janeice is here with me today because she wrote a very interesting, heart-wrenching book about her life.
Well, the title of the book is Within the Child's Core, and it's a true story of my life. I started writing the book in 1994, and it took me 21 years to write.
Janeice, why did you write the book?
One, I wrote the book for me to heal myself, and two, to tell my story, to be able to help others, to be able to identify if abuse is going on and how to break that cycle so it doesn't keep going in every generation.
Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, it starts back I went all the way back to 1963, and it talks about growing up in the Midwest and the suffering that all of my siblings suffered at the hands of my mother and father. And it just chronicles my life from 1963 up until 2015.
Now, what type of abuse?
Well, such as my father was, his way of punishment was using a wooden paddle. And my mother's punishment was using an extension cord. And so there was the corporal abuse, there was also sexual abuse, there was physical abuse, and there was pedophilia, there was molestation.
Okay. Now, today you said we're about the same age. You know, we were born 60s. We're going to 60-ish. We don't want to really release our age, but 60-ish. In those days, corporal punishment was very real and very accepted.
I haven't seen any corporal abuse, but I know that the abuse probably has changed. More so, there's more neglect than there is corporal punishment. And you hear stories about, children being beat by a belt on Yahoo or whatever, but I don't hear so much as, a child being held down on the ground, being beat with a paddle with for instance, my father's foot in my head, making sure I don't move. So that corporal punishment, I think, is out the door. But I know the abuse is still there, but maybe not as in the capacity of using a paddle with nails driven through it. But I know that it's still out there.
Yes, for some people.
Right.
Now, was this a family secret? Did you tell others that this was the type of abuse that you were going through?
It was a family secret on top of many, and we never told anybody. We never explained, we never said what happened at school. If we got beat the night before, we just had to sit on the edge of our chair and suffer through it.
Now, no one saw bruises, right, or they were hidden? Mm-hmm. Was it done on purpose to be hidden?
Yes, it was done on purpose. And our father and my mother always made us take off our clothes before they would beat us. So when we put our clothes back on, we had to wear long sleeves, or, we couldn't wear shorts, we couldn't wear dresses because you would see the scars or you'll see the welts in our body.
Okay, and also growing up for us back then, if the neighbor saw you doing something wrong, mm-hmm, they would spank you,
and then they would tell our parents, and then we'll get another spanking for misbehaving in the street.
Sometimes when it's happening to children, they are embarrassed and they won't tell. Right. The secret. It's the family secret. Tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, I was born in 1961, and my abuse started by our next door neighbor, who was my dad's friend.
And how old were you then?
I was 3.
You were 3.
And we had to go to a neighbor's house. Her name was Annie. She was our caretaker. So that's how it actually started, was over at Annie's house, and Annie and Stan living next door to each other. And as the abuse went on, and as I was getting older, then the physical abuse at home started.
Okay. Now, at 3 years old, I don't think I can remember a whole lot, but I have visions of, mm-hmm, some things at 3 years old, especially if there's something traumatic.
Right.
Did you understand or know what was going on?
No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, Stan started out by asking me if he can play ball with my friend Wanda, who was also, Annie was our caretaker for myself and Wanda. So Wanda and I would be playing outside, and he and Stan approached us and started talking and asking me if I want to come play with him with his ball, or can he play with us with the ball. And I was telling him no, he was too big, and it's only for little kids. And then he was asking me if I want to like come over into his home and play. And first I told him, I can't leave Annie's yard, and he told me that Annie said it was okay.
Okay.
And so that's how he coerced me into his home.
You left
Annie's house, Annie's yard, to go into his home because he said Annie said it was okay.
Was it okay with Annie, and did Annie know what was going on?
I'm assuming it was okay with Annie, and she knew what was going on because I'd be gone for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and when I went back into the yard to play, when he was done, she didn't say anything. I didn't get a spanking or anything. So I said, well, I guess you guys are friends, and it was okay because she didn't yell at me or nothing, and that went on for the next 8 years.
Now, what type of abuse did you suffer?
He was my pedophile.
He was a pedophile, and what did he do to you, if you don't mind?
He was a pedophile. Just imagine what a pedophile can do to a 3-year-old.
So was it penetration?
It was there. Yeah, it was there.
At 3 years old,
right?
And how long did this go on for?
It started in '63 until we moved out of that neighborhood in 1974.
So how old were you when it stopped?
Finished? I'm thinking either 8, 9, or 10, something in there.
So through those years, did you ever feel that it was wrong?
It was just something that I thought we did. It wasn't wrong to me at all because he never said it was wrong. He never said don't tell. He never said this is bad or anything. He just kept saying I was such a good girl, and he said that he loved me and I wasn't getting love from my family at home.
Right. So did he give you any candy or any gratuities for
He gave me money.
He gave you money.
He gave me money. Every day I saw him, he would give me sometimes $1, sometimes $2, and he told me to spend it any way I liked. And I was getting money every day.
Okay. So you had a twin.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience. That's also in the book.
Right. My twin died. He was born on my birthday, and he died 2 years after my birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
And what happened after your twin died?
Well, my sister told me that when my twin Jeffrey died, she said that I became more clingy. Before I was independent playing with him, and when he passed, I didn't understand, and I didn't see my twin brother around, and so I became more clingy to my family because I was lonely. And I was reaching for my mom and dad, and they kept pushing me away.
Do you feel that they felt it was your fault for the death of your twin?
By what I experienced and how my mom treated me, I felt she blamed me. And many times she said, why didn't I take his place? Why did he have to leave? Why didn't I take his place?
So she gave your twin more attention than you.
Right.
And he was probably her favorite.
Right.
Which
and
some
also
families
because
do.
he was probably sick.
He was sick a lot.
Yeah.
He was sick. So you had nothing to do with his death whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
He was just sick.
Right. He had a heart ailment. His heart was too big for his body.
As you got older, what kind of feelings did you have?
Such as?
Going through the abuse with your neighbor, the death of your twin, the corporal punishment. How did that affect your life?
Oh, enough to where I hated my parents. I truly hated my parents. I wanted to kill my dad because I was so ashamed as what had happened to me throughout my life and what my dad had done to me and to us and what my brother had done to me. Now,
you're saying your brother also sexually molested you too?
Mm-hmm. It was natural to me thinking that that's what I did before, but it was forced because when I tried to tell, he hit me really hard in my stomach and told me not to open my mouth again. Because I did try to tell once when he was making me do things with him.
Okay.
But when he hit me, that told me what we were doing was wrong.
Okay. So then you knew.
Yeah.
You knew. So how did it affect your relationships? You've gotten older. You're an adult. I guess they consider us an adult at 18 then. We could drink then. We could vote. You could go into the army. 18 was back then. It's not like it is now. You were grown. So when you turned 18, what feelings did you have inside? What were you feeling? Did you have a relationship with your brother? Did you still have a relationship with your parents?
No relationship with my parents and no relationship with my brother. I was when I moved out, I didn't move out until I was 21, and I was so stuck in my damage, Wanda, that I just carried it on. I just kept doing what I was taught. I was so dysfunctional. I was very hard on myself. I hated myself. I hated everything about me. I miss Stan very much. Stan, again, was my pedophile. And I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why I missed him so much. I wanted to be with him sexually because I had been with him throughout my whole life. And I just didn't understand what he was doing to me was wrong. And so the more I wanted to be with him, it made me more depressed. So I started doing things to hurt myself, working in a massage parlor, hitchhiking, picking up strange men for money because that's what I was taught.
Exactly.
And I was so stuck in that damage, Wanda, I couldn't understand what was going on with me. And working in a massage parlor in my early 20s and traveling in the massage parlor and making money, and just because I didn't care about me, I didn't love me, I didn't love nothing about me. I didn't have family, I had no one to talk to. I was literally on my own.
Did you feel it was your fault?
Yes, I did.
And why did you feel that way?
Because I felt it was my fault, because I thought it was my fault because my brother died. It was my fault that my parents didn't love me. I felt that they didn't want me to live, and so I felt that they hated me, and I felt that my siblings hated me, and so all that hatred was building up inside me to where I stopped taking care of myself. I didn't care about my health, my teeth, anything. I was trying to literally kill myself, and I didn't care if I lived or died. I literally did not care.
Now, what was the turning point that got you? Because it's definitely a turning point. Because I see
Right.
you look fantastic.
Thank you.
You're in school. That's how we met, and you're living a wonderful life.
Right.
Now, what was the turning point to say, "Hey, wait a minute! Now, this wasn't my fault. I was a victim of circumstances." What was the turning point in your life?
The turning point in my life was I was staying in an abuse shelter in Madison, Wisconsin, and I was talking to a woman there, and she told me, I told her I kept having a dream of a shiny penis, and I didn't understand why that was. And it finally dawned on me that the shiny penis was Stan, because he always used Vaseline on his penis for easy penetration.
For a 3-year-old up to
Right.
11 years old.
Right. And I was telling her about this, and she said, I was telling her the whole entire dream, and she said that that man had molested me. I said, no, he didn't molest me. He loved me. And she said, Janeice, he had been molesting you. I told her that he loved me, and she told me that he was my molester. And I'm like, how can he be my molester when he did nothing but, he showed me nothing but love, and he gave me kisses, and she said he was a pedophile. So that was my realization that I had been molested, and also the sexual act with my brother and having to give my father a bath. So all those things started adding up. And so I went into a whirlwind, but at least I knew now I was molested. So now my turning point is trying to get better, seeking therapy, still stuck in my damage, don't get me wrong. Even though I knew I had been molested, it was a plus, but it was a negative. Plus because I now know why the penis is chasing me, but the negative because now I have shame and I'm embarrassed and I hid my body. I would wear heavy clothing so nobody could see my body. I would never be naked in front of anybody. I became a lesbian because of what Stan had did to me. It made me think what he was doing to me, I was doing to other women. And I wasn't even a true lesbian, to be honest with you. I was hiding behind somewhere in a community so I can call it my own. But I was never really a real lesbian because I was still stuck in my damage. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, that was the result of the abuse.
Right. And so I liked it when I wasn't being abused by other women. But when they abused me, or they called me names, or they tried to hit me, which they wouldn't get away with, I would go back to what I used to do because that was my way to stay in my depression. The point where I had enough was in 2010, I wanted the apology from my dad. I wanted my family to acknowledge what had happened to me. I didn't want to keep any more secrets. I didn't want to have to keep protecting my brother and keep protecting my dad. I wanted them to acknowledge what they did so I can be free of my past. And I had to fight for that apology. And I wrote letters, and every letter I wrote to my dad, I sent to all my siblings. So now there's no more secrets. It's just pure, and it's real, and it's right in front of them. They either can read it and accept it, or not read it and pretend like it didn't happen. And that's how it was going for a while. They pretend like it didn't happen, but I kept fighting. And after started fighting in 2010, so 2015, I got the apology from my dad. It took me that long to get validation from my brother and from my dad and my family.
They know you wrote the book.
Yes.
Was there a backlash to writing the book? Because some family members, I'm sure, you kind of outed them.
Well, no threats, but my father, when I told him about the book, he didn't understand what I was saying. And I said, I wrote a book about our life, our family behind closed doors. Are you okay with that? And he said, I'm happy you wrote the book. Will I make some money off of it? I said,
well, he makes some money off of it. Okay. All right.
I said, no, but you will be in history and your name will be out there. And so I said, can I use your name in my book? And he said, yes. He gave me his permission. Now, the backlash from my siblings, my sister, May, she felt that I wrote the book to hurt my parents. And I didn't write the book to hurt my parents. I didn't write the book to hurt anybody. I wrote the book to expose abuse because it's still going on today. And it's becoming more evident, and it's more accessibility because of social media. And I wrote the book for healing for myself, to say this is what happened to me, and I'm telling my story, and I'm telling it, shouting it from the whole entire mountain, and I'm telling it because I want validation for me to know that I wrote this book. I'm Janiece Corevine, and I'm still here to talk about it.
Do you consider yourself a survivor?
I am a strong survivor and a very proud survivor. And I am married now, and I had one child in 1979. I put her up for adoption. That's the only child I had. We have since met. We were on a show called TLC, which is Long Lost Families. She found me through Detective, and we were on the show. It aired March 20th, and our meeting went really well. However, it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
How did you think it was going to go?
I thought we were going to remain in contact because that's what Leslie, that's her name, she told me. She said that we would remain in contact and I'll meet her family and stuff. But when we were done recording, she said she doesn't have time for new people in her life. And after that, I haven't seen her since.
Did you call or reach out to her again?
I tried, but she wants something to do with me.
Did she tell you that?
Yeah.
She wants nothing to do with you.
Right.
That must have been pretty painful.
It hurt.
It had to. I want to commend you for your bravery in coming out and writing this book, because I know this trip has not been easy for you.
God, no, it hasn't.
I know it has. Now, where can they get the book?
There's 3 places you can get the book. You can get the book from outskirtspress.com, barnesandnoble.com, and amazon.com.
And the name of the book is
Within the Child's Core by Janiece Corevine.
I'll say it again. Make sure we get it right.
Within the Child's Core by Janiece Corevine.
How did you come up with that name of the book?
Core, because the name of the book, Core, and I have a vine going up my body from my ankle to my neck that stands for a vine of life. You never stop living. Corvine.
All right, I like that. I wish you success, and the book is selling, so you should be happy.
Right.
And I loved having you as my guest.
So I enjoy being on your show. Thank you.
Get the book. I've read it. It's fabulous, and I think that others can learn from the book.
That's what the goal was, to write it, was to help others.
All right.